Hey everybody, welcome to this video. We're gonna start I think a little carving course. I'm gonna do a multi-part series over time. So this is gonna be part one. So we'll start here. We're just gonna do this simple little pattern, just a couple vines. I have 3 stamping tools, that's all we're gonna use on it. Of course we'll have our swivel knife and a maul as well. And I'm just making this a simple pattern to kind of show what you can do with just a few tools. So right here now I'm going to go over the tools. First we have a little thumbprint or a shader. As you can see, it's got lines horizontally across it. I'm going to show you a couple impressions of it here. That's the tool flat on itself. Normally whenever you'll run this, you'll have it angled, so you'll either be running it that way, which as you noticed, it does have a small end and a large end, so there's the small end, and we'll walk it like that. You can see you kind of get 2 different tools in one right there, a little thinner one and a longer one, or a wider one. And that's going to be our shader, and we'll show you how to use that in just a second and where to use it. The next tool we'll be using today is this beveler. As you can see, it's got a flat side and it's angled. What we'll do is we'll end up putting that angled end in the cut. Like I said, we'll show you how it's used right quick. Also has a checkered face on it. You can get these smooth and checkered. The checker end, it gives your carving a little bit more color, some extra texture. And next tool we'll be using here is this bar grounder. Let's see. It's just a bunch of dots. It's a backgrounding tool is what it is. You can get these in different amounts of seeds on them or dots. I think this one has 7, and you can get them in 3, 5, 7, 9, and probably different numbers as well, depending on the surface area or the area that you're backgrounding. You might need a bigger one or a smaller one. And this is a swivel knife. You just put your index finger in the little yoke there, and you steer it with your thumb and your middle finger. So I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna cut this little vine pattern out, and I'll show you how to use your knife. But we'll just start. Zoom in just a touch. Start out here at the tip of the vine. Hold the knife straight up and down, and we're just gonna pull it. We're gonna start pretty heavy, and as we get towards the end of that line, we're gonna taper that cut out, take our pressure off. You can see how here it starts heavy, and then we taper it off. I'm gonna cut the rest of them, and we're gonna do the same thing. Start off heavy, taper it down. Get this other side here. Cut the tips of them, start heavy, taper it in the center there. And you can see when I'm starting on this the cap or the front end of that vine, how my knife is angled out, coming this way, away from it. And then as we make that cut, you spin it around with your thumb and your middle finger and drag it. And on that cut too, we're still tapering everything out. So after we get that, next step I'm gonna do, and there's many different ways to do this. This is just how I prefer to do it. I'm gonna get my shader, and I'm gonna use whatever end fits down in these little petals the best, which on this one, it looks like it's gonna be that small end. So we're gonna angle it just so the tip's hitting in the leather. There's just one shot to show you. And we're gonna walk this thing. And what we do, I kind of rest my pinky and my ring finger on the leather, and then as I stamp it, you get that little bounce, and you can kind of drag it across the leather. And you get that nice long tapered line, just like we were tapering with our swivel knife before. We're gonna taper out that stamping as well. So I'm just gonna start out here on this front one. See if I can get it kind of a decent angle. Start out in this front one, and I'm going to start it. I'm just going to tap one in there so I can show you. That's about where I'm going to start it. You get that little halo around the outside of your vine. You don't want to start right on the tip, and you don't want to start too far back. You want nice even lines all the way around there. So we got that first little tap in there. I'm going to go back, hit it just a little bit deeper. And I'm just walking it. Each hit, it moves just a little bit. And then as I get towards the end, I'm tapering it off. Everything we're just tapering off, try to make it nice and smooth. Get this next one here, same thing. Whack. And walking it. Just walking it across. Nice and smooth. Start out at the tip, we're hitting it hard. With each tap, we move it just a little bit. And taper it off. So there we got our shading done with our thumbprint. Next, we're going to use that beveler. And like I said, that beveler, it gets down right inside all of that cut line. See how it's got that angle? We're going to put the short side towards the outside and run it right in that line. So we're going to start just like we did with that thumbprint and our swivel knife. See if I can get some good light. We're hitting it pretty hard. And it's the same thing, we're walking it. Make a tap, move it a little bit. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it in the light. Tap, move. Tap, move. And once we get to the edge, we just softly tap it out. We're going to flip it over, and we're going to do the same thing. Get that beveler down in the cut line. We're going to push the leather away from it, so that way it looks like it's popping out. It gives it a little three-dimensionalness. So, starting nice and heavy. And a good tip for this, see how my leather's moving around on me? Get you a weight or something put down on there, especially this thin stuff. It likes to move around on you, and it makes everything harder than it should be. So I'm just going to keep tapping and taper that thing out nice and soft at the end. And last little line here, hard, and we're walking it. The key is just getting those little movements with each strike. And like I said, I'm doing a lot of that. I got my pinky and my ring finger here on the leather. And it just allows us to move that stuff a little bit at a time. You don't want to move it too far, because you want, I got off the line. You want your beveling to be nice and smooth on the leather. But see, what you don't want to do is get these choppy marks where you're moving it too far at a time. See how you get those little lines in there? You want it to be just nice and smooth, one continuous line, tapered out. But now we got that done, it's time for our backgrounder, like I was telling you. And we're just going to put this, there's really no background on this. We're just going to put it in a couple little accent points. But this tool, you hit just continuous next to one another. And we are laying this tool flat. There's no angle to it. Sometimes there is, but most of the time there's not. It's just going to be flat. Sometimes if I have a larger spot, I'll tip it up and run it, but we're not going to on this one. So what I'll do, we got this little V here where that vine merges into the other one. So we'll just set it flat across the top there and work our way down into the bottom of that V. And as we go down, I'm turning it so that we can make it fit in that little space just right. So give it a little tap. And as I go down in there, I'm turning it. Same thing on this one here. I got that little space. As I go down in there, I'm just turning it sideways. Last thing here, in these little flat vines, whatever you want to call them, we're going to put a little, just one long line and a short line with our swivel knife, just to give it a little bit of flow, a little movement. So I'm going to start, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, and hopefully it'll be a little easier to see. I'm going to start in the front here, come down, and I'm just following the line of the back of my vine. See how we have that longer line there in the back and a shorter one in the front? We can change that up. Make a longer line in the front and a shorter one in the back. See how that just gives us a little bit more, a little movement, a little something else in there. But this is just something, like I said, we did with 3 stamping tools. You don't need expensive stamping tools. If you just get you some, play with them. You can modify them. I might do a video on that later on. I've thought about it in the past. I haven't done it yet. But like I said, this is part 1, so follow along. We're going to do some more advanced patterns. Get some more tools involved on the next one. Probably do a flower or something. And like I said, get a little bit into drawing as well. So hang along, follow, and we'll go from there. But I appreciate y'all watching. Adios.